Welcome to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse?
With your host, Louisa Barton.
I want to be a famous rider. I should like to race.
Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital.
Truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's very finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the CEP Equine Studios in downtown Ocala, the horse capital of the world. Got a great lineup of show guests for you today. Going to start off with chatting a bit about hits, and then I'm going to tell you about the lineup. And we've got a few other mentions and some news for you too. We were at the Hits $500,000 Great American Grand Prix this weekend. What a great turnout of spectators and a wonderful crowd in the VIP tent as well this weekend. Congratulations to Daniel Coyle of Ireland, who beautiful finish there against some of the top riders actually in the world. The final three were Daniel Coyle, followed by Kristen van der Veen, and then of course our friend Rowan Willis, who's been on the show himself. It was kind of neat to see Daniel Coyle go up against his brother Jordan Coyle, the two Irishmen. It was pretty neat. And he was actually on Ariel Grange Legacy, his horse. He had a big advantage today. He was third in the jump-off. His brother had a good round, so there's definitely some sibling rivalry going on there. He really had a lot of pressure on him to go fast as he could, and it paid off. And really, it was an incredible event overall, just to really see the best of the best out here, riding at the Hits Post-Time Farm. So that closes out the Hit season for this year. But we always love this Great American Grand Prix. It's always a wonderful event for the Ocala area. That's a wind picture there. I heard a comment about his Irish red hair and shining in the sun, and it certainly was. And the sun certainly shone on horse shows in the sun for the Sunday event. And there he is on Legacy after a great victorious jump-off round. And horse looks like it's ready to go again. Doesn't look tired at all. The jumps were just tremendous size. I'm usually up in the tent, but got down there on ground level and was just looking at them. And there's actually a piranha jump photo somewhere here that shows you just how enormous these jumps really are. But seeing these horses compete at this level is just incredible. And to see some of the top riders, riding 2, 3, and 4 horses. I think Rowan Willis had 4 horses altogether in it. And, I was kind of thinking about the comparison of, yes, if you have 4 horses, you've got more tries at it to get used to the course. But also on that, kind of on the other end of that is, you've got your focuses on 4, and you've kind of got to think how each horse is maybe different and a different strategy with each horse. So you're also spread thinner. So there's kind of 2 sides to that. I think Daniel Coyle rode 2, and Rowan had 4. So, there's kind of 2 sides to that coin, but there's Kristen. And it just, it's interesting how you have to keep the adrenaline going, to ride 4 horses in a competition like this. So it's certainly incredible to see the best of the best from around the world. Andre Tima, usually in the top 3 or 4, wasn't this year, surprisingly enough. So we see Andre consistently being a top rider, and obviously he still is. But it's all about the day. You have the day, and maybe you win, maybe you don't. But there they are with the course designer, and she's been the course designer, I think, for for the Grand Prix at the end of Hits for quite a few years. I've met her a few times before. Seems to do a really good job. So the top three there, and yep, there's the piranha jump. You know, had to find it and say, wow, look at that. You know, this incredible piranha, of course, big sponsor of the Equine Initiative at the Chamber, and also sponsor of our show. Great partnership with Tom and Ben from Piranha. So that's how big that jump is. So if that doesn't tell you something, I'm 5'6". So these are big jumps, and really just incredible course, amazing competition. And thank you to Hits for being loyal to us in 40 years now here in Ocala, Marion County. And it's just it's a great event. It's a great season of jumping, and wonderful. So moving on to announcement. We've been announcing each week that May 8th, Superhero 5K Run for Rovera. The Rovera family are facing some health situation and financial concerns. $25 for a participant. Groups are welcome. 9 a.m. to 12 noon on May the 8th at the Florida Horse Park on Highway 475. You can support from a distance if you can't participate. You definitely can be involved, and you can donate. And there's a 1 mile option as well on this. So all the proceeds from this will go directly to the Rovera family. So if you can help support them, I think that's phenomenal. May 8th, don't forget. Announcement. The last few weeks we have been regularly sharing on social media, as well as sharing on the show, that our dear sweetheart, who is one of the gentle carousel miniature therapy horses visiting 25,000 sick and dying children and adults a year, made it out of 14 or 15,000 entrants into the contest to be the Cadbury Bunny this year. They made it down into the top 10 and actually made it to number 2 behind Annie Rose. And very excited to announce that they actually came second overall in the entire United States of America. Not placing them in the position of being the Cadbury Bunny, but so very close. So congratulations to Gentle Carousel Miniature Therapy horses. We hope they try again next year, because I think one of the miniature therapy horses would be very appropriate for the Cadbury Bunny. Happy birthday! Some people know him as Ian Lampert. Myself, I just call him Captain Jack for obvious reasons. He runs the board for the show, does a fine job. He's a great friend of ours, and I've known him for quite a few years, and he's certainly an asset and a great friend and a wonderful, good-hearted chap. So happy birthday, Ian. I'm not going to sing to you because everybody would switch us off if I did. And Gigi brought him cake in today too, so that's absolutely wonderful. So the show lineup. It's quite a nice one. We've got Dr. Cayot coming up next after this, and he's going to be chatting a little bit about Heaves. Certainly something that we have to start being a little bit concerned about at this time of year, as we're heading into the warmer season. So we'll have Dr. Cayot, and then we have US Equestrian President Tom O'Mara for a couple of segments with us. That was a Winnie, yes. We actually have a young lady who's originally from the Ukraine. She's a doctor here, and she's going to talk a little bit about the plight of a certain town that she's from in Ukraine and how we can help. And Maria LaCasse is here, and she is going to give us a wonderful chat on being both human and equine massage therapist and how that works together to make you and your horse the perfect team. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Dr. Adam Cayot. Stay with us on the Horse Talk Show.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
With over 70 years of collective experience in the horse industry, Lip Chip was built with integrity by horsemen for horsemen. Introducing the Chip Link system, powered by Lip Chip, where a 15-digit unique ID becomes a key to unlock not only identity, but also health paperwork, owner information, and even photos of each horse. So simple, even a child can do it. The future is here. The future is Lip Chip.
Enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with state-of-the-art equipment. ETI treadmills offer the finest European engineering, the highest quality filtration, and no chemicals are required. Follow Equine Therapy International on social media or at equinetherapyint.com. Equine Therapy International provides technologically advanced therapy for horses worldwide.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television here at Peterson & Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care in Ocala, Marion County, Florida, the horse capital of the world. And I forgot what we're talking about. Just kidding. There's a funny joke there too. We're talking to Dr. Adam Cayot about the heaves and non-sweater issues, which quite often come together, one from the other, right? And of course, in the summertime, we definitely see a lot more of that. Tell us a little bit about non-sweaters and heavers.
Okay, well, let's start with anhydrosis or non-sweaters. We don't know why that.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, no, me neither. We don't know why that happens to horses. We do see it a lot down here. Well, a lot. You know, it's not uncommon to see it down here, especially during the warm times of the year for whatever reason. I think that's rather interesting because a lot of times these horses that become non-sweaters, if they go back up to a northern climate, they start sweating again. Whether that has anything to do with it or just coincidence, I don't know. But certainly it can happen at any age. Certainly horses that are older might be cushion-oyed, tend to be more prone to that sort of thing, but it can happen in any horse. And it's kind of interesting to see that a lot of times horses that were prolific sweaters or sweat a lot end up being the ones that that it gets turned off all of a sudden. So you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know where it's going to happen, but it certainly can happen. And like I said, it's not uncommon for it to occur in the ones that tend to be, like I said, prolific sweaters. So just because
it can be one extreme to the other.
Absolutely. And there's no good treatment or there's no good product out there to make them become start sweating again. I've had the best luck with actually giving them beer, and people always laugh at that, but
horses love it. Barley, hops, why not?
Exactly. Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, and it doesn't have to be expensive either. So I will have owners do that. There's other products out there like 1AC, and a side effect of Ventapulmin is sweating. So those are possible treatments. Sometimes horses will start sweating again and never have a reoccurrence. Sometimes it'll go both ways, and sometimes they never start really sweating again. And those obviously you have to be careful of, especially down here. You need to be aware of how hot it is when you're riding them, and just be aware of your horse as you're riding them. If their neck is not sweaty, and it usually is, then that needs to pop into your mind like, oh my gosh, maybe she's become a non-sweater. Very important if you see that and the horse has been working to try to get them cooled off. Cold water between their hind legs, the pole area, any of those areas will help cool them down quickly, because they can have heat stroke, and that cannot be a good outcome. So be aware of that. Be aware of your horse. Even if you notice, the only spot he really sweat was underneath the saddle pad or underneath his mane. Those are all indications of anhydrosis, and it should be, noticed and tried to dealt with.
Now, when does non-sweating turn into the heaves, and is heaves often a result of non-sweating?
They're really not connected. So heaves is basically just COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. One doesn't necessarily cause the other. It obviously, non-sweater things can be exacerbated if the horse has heaves, because they're already having a hard enough time breathing. That's a way that they dissipate heat. Okay, a lot of times horses that are non-sweaters will hyper-respiratory, have hyper-respirations or increased respiratory
panting.
Like a panting, yeah. And that's the body's natural response to trying to dissipate heat. So you may notice that more, especially in a horse that has heaves. But heaves is basically asthma in the horse, and it's called heaves because you see them actually physically heave, or they're having to actively push the air out of their lungs, because over time scarring and chronic change has happened in the lungs to cause a decreased airflow in the lungs. And you can have, there are many asthmatics out there that know how this feels. It feels like you're breathing through a straw, and you try to deal with it with medications, controlling your environment, and all these things that will help with that. So certainly, if you have a horse that's heavy and they become anhydrotic, that's a big problem, because they have worse, a greater inability to physically dissipate heat. So if you have that together, you need to be extra cautious, but one doesn't necessarily cause the other.
We did have a horse that had both, and it was, and he was older, so it was a challenge.
Yeah, that can be definitely a challenge. But heaves is a problem, and then certainly I see it a lot down here. It tends to rear its ugly head in the summer when we have much more irritants in the air, more pollen, more molds, more fungus, more stuff and dust in the air down here, that over time has chronically changed this horse's lung field and breathing field. And then at some point you'll notice that he's breathing a lot harder than he usually does.
And what is the best treatment for that? And do you prefer to see a horse out in a field that has that problem and out of kind of the dust and the hay and the bedding and all of that sort of thing?
Typically down here they actually do better outside, because you get more dust and stuff inside. It just depends, though, typically,
because if a horse is out and gets hotter, then might be more of a problem than with the fan, but the fan could be blowing dust and pollen.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard. It's hard down here. It's hard to control the environment of the horse, period. You can't necessarily take them in your house, though some people do, into the air conditioning and that sort of thing. But the way I try to control it is with steroid and bronchodilators. Steroid to decrease the inflammation that's there. Bronchodilators, they actually relax the muscles around the bronchial tree so that the bronchi are able to expand and you're able to get more air in, and that can be a relief, obviously. So that's the way I try to treat it, and it's a long going thing. As long as that horse is alive, you'll have to deal with this typically, unless you get them out of the environment that's causing it. Excuse me. So a lot of times these horses will do better in northern climates just because whatever here is irritating them is more prevalent in the in the air. So I try to, if possible, I'll say, hey, send them north if you can. Otherwise, most of the time in the summer, you end up starting to treat them lot of times during the winter, cold times of the year, they don't have to be treated, and we'll stop, and that's nice. But it can be a real problem.
Do any get so far gone that they need breathing treatments and things like that?
Certainly, yeah. There are aerosol treatments out there, the aero mask and that sort of thing, where they actually take inhalers and put those in there. Those work. They work okay, I think. They're expensive because it ends up being a human product that are meant to give to humans on one puff, and you got to give a bunch of puffs. So you go through the medication rather rapidly, but that is out there.
Wonderful. Dr Adam Cayot here at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and Equus Television. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, and Larson Hay, our broadcast and television sponsor, plus supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha, TT Distributors, and the Hilton Garden Inn, downtown Louisville.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton. Have an extreme honor to have a friend of mine in the studio that I am awed by and impressed by on a regular basis, and that is the US EF President, Tom O'Mara. Tom, it's lovely to have you here with us.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to come and chat.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your background, so growing up, and so we know just a little bit about you.
Sure. So I grew up in a town up in New Jersey called Colts Neck.
Colts Neck,
Yes.
How appropriate.
Exactly. So it was not the horse capital of the world, but there were a lot of horses, and there's a lot of thoroughbreds and standardbreds because in that area up in New Jersey there was many racetracks, and I grew up very close to Monmouth Park, and there was.
I love Monmouth. It's got a lot of history.
Yeah, it really does, and so it was pretty prominent around that area. But I have two brothers, and we ended up playing every type of sport there was, and the three of us became really kind of ice hockey players when we were young.
Really? I played mud hockey. So,
so we ended up, from time to time though, since it was kind of a rural area that we lived in, and I've told this story a couple of times, but to field a squad in our neighborhood to play either baseball or football, there weren't enough boys, so we had all the girls come out and play also, which was great. And they didn't necessarily always want to because some of the guys might have been a little rough on the football. It wasn't touch, it was tackle. And but the girls said, "We'll do it as long as you come with us horseback riding." So it was kind of funny.
So later on, after school, you did a lot of like banking and
right.
investment work and all that sort of thing, and that's kind of a little bit of a jump to what you do now. But you were also a horse show dad, very involved horse show dad.
That's right.
And your wife also, Liz, a rider. So you've kind of been thrown into the horses regardless, right? All your life, pretty much.
It really was my wife's doing. When we got married,
Good.
She loved horses. We talked about it. We went to the track. We went on horse riding vacations. We went to dude ranches. And we went and took lessons out in Colts Neck with, who's that great female jockey who was right from there? She was one of the first. It'll hit me once I stop thinking about it.
That's how it works with me too.
Yeah. And she didn't give the lessons, but she was always training there. So I would go over and watch because I always wanted. Julie Crone.
That's it, Julie Crone. Yeah, see, if you hadn't said it, I'd have hit there.
So I was like, oh, wow, Julie Crone rides here too. So my wife did riding. We'd have the babies with us, and then I would be watching them, and she would go riding. But once the kids got a little bit older, she introduced them to horses. And, we had them do all sports. We exposed them to as many sports as possible, but it was always going to a barn and seeing a pony or a horse was the most exciting to them. So we got involved in it, really through her, my wife introducing the whole family to it.
Wonderful. So then from being a concerned and caring horse show dad, obviously you saw some things maybe you wanted to change or do better or do differently. Yeah. And so you served actually on the USEF board and were treasurer. Mm-hmm. And then 2021 moved into the position of USEF president.
That's right.
Talk a little bit to us about kind of what that means to you, why it was important to you, and kind of the first little stages of that for you.
It really came about still from my kids, their involvement as they were in riding. They all rode as junior riders, as you mentioned, and our family got very involved. And we were on the road together 35 weekends a year, all up and down the East Coast. And so we were fortunate we were able to do it, and we all knew that, but we all did it together, and that was really the great part of it. My wife always says we can't take it with us, so we had a couple of horses, and it was great. As they got a little bit older, I kept thinking to myself, as they were approaching college age, what are they going to do when we sat down and we looked at the first college application. You have to say what you do, what are your other interests. And if you just ride, I like horses, it doesn't really wow a lot of college admissions officers. So I knew there was, anyway, we all know the dedication that it takes to compete at the high level of the sport, but not every college admissions officer does. So we had to tell a story about it. And what I learned was I explored in college, there are 7 different organizations that are available for men and women across the country to participate and continue to ride while they're in college. And that's when we learned about that. So 2 of my daughters ended up riding on an NCAA team and got scholarships to go to college and the whole 9 yards. And so it was really my involvement in exploring collegiate, and I felt that our national governing body and the big associations in the western side, AQHA, NRHA, they needed to really support this whole collegiate step. And I sat down, I called up the leaders of them all, and I said, I'm just a horse show dad.
Horse show dad, there you go.
And I said, but I'd love to sit down and talk to you. I think we're missing the boat on all this collegiate riding that's going on. And they took my calls, and I sat down and had messages. So they all said we're in, and they all were, but they didn't realize how big and how important I think it was. So it was about a month after I had a sit down with the then president and CEO of the USEF. I was at a horse show at the Kentucky Horse Park with my son, and that's when I managed to get a meeting with the 2 of them, which was supposed to be 45 minutes, and it went on for a couple of hours, and we walked around the whole next day and kept talking about different ideas. And about a month or so later, I was nominated for the independent director seat of the USEF. So really that's what got me involved, and I called up and I said, what happened? They said, we're missing the boat on college equestrian, collegiate, and you know a lot about it, for all the different organizations that are doing it. So that's what got me involved there. I sat and watched for my first year on the board. There was a lot of really influential people on that board, Olympians and people who run a lot of the different breed associations, and I kept thinking to myself, how can I help? And then some issues came up that were kind of more in my background, which is financial services. Mm-hmm. And there was some accounting things that we wanted to look at, and maybe we did a divestiture of the lab, the drug testing lab, to the University of Kentucky from the USEF. And I got involved with analyzing that with some other board members. And I think the board liked the way I was looking at things from a business perspective. And when the then president, Maria LaCasse, was going out of retirement because he was very good at turning around companies. Someone tapped him on the shoulder and said, will you come back and turn around this company? And he said, I will. And he couldn't be the president any longer. It became too taxing for him. So the board put me up and nominated to be president. And so here I am.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So kind of what when you look at your next 5 to 10 years, what do you kind of see that you're looking to accomplish?
One of the things that I think has been a bit restricting from time to time in all the large breed organizations and in particular with the United States Equestrian Federation, the USEF, is for many, many years they were managed by, and some of them still are, by horse show operators and trainers. And to me, I always say to people, it was very inward looking. They came up with products and they serviced all the people who were members of those organizations. But there was very little outreach beyond people who were dedicated horse enthusiasts already.
Sport, right.
So it fell right into, I mean, I am a college sports fanatic, a fan of all sports, men and women's. I watch them all. We have the Final Four going on, March Madness, it's a really fun time of the year for a lot of people, and myself included. So I kept thinking about this sport that my family was involved with, and I think it's a phenomenal sport. You can see how disciplined the kids are and how exciting, and they're outside, and it's really a great thing to be involved with. But I kept thinking, we all know the story about horses. You have a talk show talking about horses with people from all the different venues.
Right.
But we've got to get that out to everybody.
Right.
To more people. And so that's what we're working on. That's really one of our primary goals, is to broaden the umbrella, have more people under the umbrella who are interested in horses. And they don't have to ride horses. They don't have to look like me. I want diversity and inclusion. I want all people who are interested. And
grow the fan base. Yeah.
Grow the fan base.
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful. That noise was a sign that it's time to go to break. But I still have a question about soybean, hay, and maple syrup. So we'll do those when we come back if you stay with us. Then we're going to chat a little bit about an amazing event coming up that Tom's been very much involved in. And we're going to chat a bit about Ukraine as well. So stay with us on the Horse Talk Show. We'll be right back. Current equine microchips can migrate by up to 30%, causing difficulty when scanning. With over 70 years of collective horse industry experience, LipChip offers a new, more effective method of microchipping, partnering with veterinarians and technology experts to ensure humane and practical microchipping. LipChip was built by horsemen for horsemen. Nowadays, the performance horse industry is in need of both integrity and transparency. LipChip is the future of horse microchipping, with cutting-edge technology functional for every discipline. Find LipChip on social media, and for more information, lipchipllc.com. The future is here. The future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now, or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Centre Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs, EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Centre now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
Debbie and George and the staff at Gentle Carousel Miniature Therapy Horses, one of the largest equine therapy programs in the world, take teams of tiny horses to visit thousands of adults and children inside hospitals and in hospice care. They visit with families, first responders, and veterans who have experienced traumatic events. This multiple award-winning 501c3 is celebrating over 25 years of service, bringing hope and peace to the bedsides of many, some who are in the final moments of life. For more information or to donate, go to gentlecarouselminiaturetherapyhorses.com. Like them on social media and help them make a difference
that really counts. The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations, with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honouring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show.
You never heard of a talking horse? Well, listen to this.
With your host, Louisa Barton.
What does it feel like to be in love with a horse?
Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience.
Back in the saddle again.
Now, here's your pretty Louisa Barton.
You're fab. You're switched on. You're a bit of all right. Yes. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our TV broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. Louisa Barton here in the studio with US Equestrian President Tom O'Mara, and we have been talking a little bit about his background, which I think is very interesting. But the question I didn't get to ask you that I've got to ask you is, tell me about hay, soybeans, and maple syrup.
So
you're a guy of many talents.
That's right. That's right. I don't like sitting idle, so that's why I got myself in trouble walking around horse shows following my family. And similarly, my wife and I were very big believers in having our family exposed to the outdoors, and so we ended up buying a hay farm in upstate New York. And honestly, it was great. We learned a lot. I learned how to hay. I was trying to figure out a way to have the best type of hay for thoroughbred racing, and I was working with the Cornell Cooperative on testing the hay and whatnot to make the best short-term burst naturally with hay. And I figured I can't afford the great racehorses that get you to the Kentucky Derby, to the winner's circle. And my goal and my hope was to potentially be in that winner's circle because I produced the hay for the winner. It never happened, but I learned a lot along the way. So we did have hay, and we had organic wheat and soybeans. We rotated the fields. And it was a wonderful piece of property because it was huge. It was up in the foothills of the Adirondacks. And there's a lot of maple trees up there. So we had we did maple syruping as well. So I learned about that as well.
So you've done a lot.
Yeah.
So tell us about the wonderful event coming up at World Equestrian Centre in April. I'm very excited to have met with Greg Williams and worked with their team and helping to make that go. And I know you have done a lot to promote that and work with them.
No, it's been great. In fact, again, at one point I was an advisor, a volunteer advisor to the NCEA, which is the coaches organization. It stands for National Collegiate Equestrian Association. And it is the coaches organization that oversees the day-to-day operations of NCAA Equestrian. NCAA Equestrian is an emerging sport for women, and it came about because of Title IX shortfalls for opportunities for women in college athletics. And in the mid-90s, it's about 25 years ago, so 96, 97, the NCAA created a second category of sport. There's only two categories now, championship and emerging. And they created the emerging sport because they kept saying, actually the federal government went to the NCAA and said, why is there a discrepancy in men and women's opportunities in NCAA sports? They said it's really tough to start women's sports from scratch because the bar was you had to have 50 universities to do that. So they created the second category. They got creative and they call it emerging sports. You can start an emerging sport with as few as 15 teams. And then you have X amount of years to grow it up to 40, not even to 50. And they would then declare you a championship team. The only difference between championship status and emerging status is when you hit championship status, the NCAA pays for the national championship. So the good news is NCAA equestrian is booming. It's very strong in the United States. It's only in 2 of the 3 NCAA divisions right now, Division I and Division II. We're working on getting it passed, or people are working on getting it passed at Division III. And I was very involved with this before I got into my new role at the USEF. So I'm not involved with it currently, but I am a huge advocate for it. The NCEA, as well as 4 other collegiate equestrian organizations, we have designated them educational partners of the USEF. So we do help them all, and they all are having their national championships are all coming up in the spring. The very exciting news, though, is of all those organizations for riding in college, only one of them is part of the NCAA. Only one of them are the student athletes, part of the athletics department. 100% of them. Some of the other organizations, a few schools do count their very competitive club teams as part of athletics, which is completely legit. But they don't compete against the other schools that are going to be vying for this NCEA National Championship. So it's NCAA Equestrian. The very exciting news is it's coming to Ocala April 14th through 17th.
Yes,
Actually,
that sounds right, I think.
Yeah. The final day is Saturday. Championship Saturday is the day before Easter. So I'll get you guys the link in the schedule. You can put it up on your website.
It'd be wonderful.
It has been held for the last 15 years in Texas, in Waco, Texas. Baylor has been the host university. And obviously with the World Equestrian Center, the NCEA had put out some RFPs, requests for proposals, to venues all over the country to see where and when they would move it. And they've been looking at this for about 5 years. And then when World Equestrian Center came about and was built, they reached out to them and they filled out an RFP, and they're moving it here for the first time. So I always tell people in Ocala, the exciting part about this is there's really no other NCAA sport that's going to hold their national championship in the horse capital of the world.
Right. So this is big.
So we've got it. We landed it.
We love that.
And the city and the county have been supportive of this and are backing it, and all the
visitors bureaus who reached out to me to connect, and then we had them at WEC speaking, and you came, and
correct.
It was wonderful.
So it's really exciting for
Big
collegiate equestrian, and it's going to be here. And it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yep.
The top 8 teams in the dual discipline. So let me just explain quickly what NCAA, the format of NCAA equestrian is. There's both Western riding and English riding. And there's 2 events in each side. So in the Western side, there's reining and horsemanship. And it's really called the jumping seat side, or English side. The jumping seat side is jumping seat over fences, and then there's a flat, which really, and my dressage friends say don't call it dressage, but it's a modified dressage flat. It's not flat that any of these hunter jumper riders did as junior riders ever. So it's really exciting. So there's 20 points, and it's head-to-head riding. This is really important. This is what makes it a collegiate sport. They take out a horse randomly, so we'll just say reining. There's 5 rides, and they'll take 5 reining horses. And no horse at this championship will be ridden by, they're owned by the teams, but no team will be competing and riding one of their own team horses in this competition. They're riding a horse that they may never have ridden before. But they'll bring out a horse, and they take a rider from University A, and they have to ride that horse. And then the horse gets a break while they go down the list of 5 horses. And they alternate. One rider from each school rides it in the first round. Then they bring that horse back, and a rider from the other school rides the same horse on the same course in the same allotted time, and whoever gets the higher score gets a point. So it neutralizes universities having better horses than another university. Right. And really it's trying to identify who the best rider is on any given day, not who happens to be a great rider and happens to have a great horse as well. So
how awesome is that?
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's really
it kind of levels the playing field and gets everybody to have a chance.
And I'm telling you, the top formerly junior riders in those disciplines, reining, horsemanship, and the jumping seat side from the hunter jumper world, the top junior riders in America are on these teams. So the top 8 schools that do all of that will be competing in a bracket. So it's just like it's March Madness right now. So this is our version of the Final Four. It starts out with just the top 8 teams come, and they'll be bracketed. So number 1 rides against number 8, and it's knockout. You have to play the next day. You got to win. So it'll be the quarterfinals on Thursday, semifinals on Friday, and Saturday is championship Saturday, and it'll be very exciting.
How fun is that?
Yeah, it really is.
We have 1 minute left. I can't believe it flew by.
I talk a lot.
It's okay. I got a goodie bag from Piranha for you with lots of nice stuff with lip chip and Piranha stuff in it. Really, really fast. And Tom Schmitz is going to be upset with me. We might run over on this segment. But tell me just a little bit real quick about Ukraine and what USEF is doing.
Now to a very serious matter, obviously, what's going on there. With the International Federation, the Federation Equestrian International, the FEI, one thing I learned now in my position, I can't use initials because not everyone can follow all these acronyms for all these different organizations. Right. But the FEI and we, the USEF, obviously we put a ban on Russian and Belarusian athletes from competing in our countries. But there's just such devastation going on for all the people in the Ukraine. And as we all know, as horse people, there's horses there. And it's hard to say. They may not be the first issues that people are trying to take care of, but they're going to be. And so the USEF and so many people in the horse world reached out to all the organizations in the horse world. How do we help? How do we help? So we worked with the FEI, and we raised, they just told me the other day, in 1 week we raised over $100,000 that's going to the FEI Solidarity Fund. And I think the total monies coming around the world are getting north of €1 million. And they're working with the Ukraine Equestrian Federation, who is in, they're hiding in Poland, and the horses they're trying to get across the border right now. People are offering stabling. Hay is being shipped in. It's a crisis situation, obviously for the people, but from our world, really for the horses too. So there's a fund. USEF has that fund. If anyone wants to go online, you can find it.
That's wonderful.
And you can make donations. It's 501c3. It's tax deductible. And that's where we are.
Tom, wonderful job.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
Yes, we're just so happy to have you as president of USEF. You're doing such a phenomenal job in so many different areas. It's super exciting to just even be part of it.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here and get a chance to talk to everybody.
Yes, please come back and see us again.
Thanks
Tom O'Mara, yes, USEF will be back in just a few minutes. We're going to talk a little more Ukraine and some equine and equestrian massage. Stay with us. Thank you to our presenting sponsors of this half of the show, Palm Chevrolet and Larson Hay. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equine Performance and Innovative Center, and Summit Joint Performance.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. Piranha, your trusted leader in insect control for 50 years. The official fly spray for World Equestrian Center. From the strongest water-based equine spray in the blue bottle to the familiar and long-time favorite in the yellow bottle. Wipe and spray, we've got you covered. If you're looking for effective plant-based fly spray, then look for our Zero Bite in the green bottle. Check us out online at piranhainc.com. That's P-Y-R-A-N-H-A, piranhainc.com, to learn more about Piranha's entire family of products. Piranha, it works.
I've been training racehorses for 31 years, and everybody over the industry has always talked about how we need to have integrity in the sport. I listened to everybody for years and years, and nobody ever did anything. So one day I just decided, we're going to do this. It's progressed really well since then. We've been working on it about 3 years now, and we've gone from, having real short reed ranges to over 1,200 feet. And go to big events, and where it's taken 6 to 7 hours for horses to come through the gates, we can do that now to where we can cut it down from 9 to 12 minutes per trailer load to less than a minute with no mistakes.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Good evening.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the CEP Equine Studios downtown. A couple of guests in the studio with me. To my left, I'm going to have her pronounce her name so I don't mess up. Dr Tatyana Borisiak. That's beautiful. I love that. I would not have done that with that accent, by the way. And I've also got
Maria LaCasse.
There you go. And she's with Midnight Rose. Can you tell? I'm showing off here. Anyway, the next two segments are going to be really fun because the three of us are going to be chatting. And I'm going to start over here, and we are going to talk a little bit about Ukraine, which is where you got your beautiful accent. And Tom O'Mara was speaking briefly about what USEF is doing with horses and with all the concerns there. Obviously a very serious situation. You grew up in Ukraine, your family, your friends. Tell us a little background about you and Ukraine and the part of Ukraine you're from, and we'll kind of go on from there about how we can help.
So my name is Dr. Tatyana Borisiak, and I'm an internal medicine physician who is practicing wellness and integrative medicine. I live in South Florida, and I'm originally from Ukraine. So my roots go quite far. I moved to US in 1996, but my heart had always been back with home, and I traveled last summer back to Ukraine. I'm from, I was born and raised in picturesque mountain village town, Verkhovina, which means highlands. And it has very unique population, people called Hutsul.
What are they called?
Hutsul. That region, it goes back all the way to 4th century.
Wow.
So it's been very unique because it has a difficult access and is in highlands. So people were hiding there from Mongolian invasion, and that region always was called region between Western Slovak countries and Eastern Slovak countries. So even though it was under the rules of Poland and Austria at one point, it always had been his own unique identity because it was always trying to establish its independence. And only after only after Austrian Empire had fallen down in the World War I, is Ukraine was annexed by Russians and incorporated into Soviet Union.
Wow.
Yes.
So a lot of history.
Yes, that western part. And then
we are going to be sharing, actually, I think, some video and photos.
And only in 70 years later, when Ukraine finally gained its independence, it became part of modern Ukraine. I grew up in Soviet Union, so I know how it is to be under the Soviet regime. You couldn't say what you wanted to say. You couldn't practice religion. You couldn't travel. You couldn't do anything that you liked because you were told who to vote for and what to study for. And when I went back home, I saw the hope when I went back last summer, and I saw that it started to change for better because people started traveling, they could speak their own language, they could attend the church without being persecuted, and my heart, and be free. And my heart was filled with hope. I was visiting my parents' home, and I was thinking how I'm going to bring my children over there and share my friends and family. And on February 24, everything had changed.
Yes.
And Russia attacked us, and it's really sad what's happening in Ukraine. It's devastating. It's beyond devastating. People go through immense suffering. Their houses lost. People lived with small little packs. Sometimes I know personally people who got on the train and they were just told to leave all the bags and they just left house with nothing but things in hand. That's it. And so the town where I live right now, holding a lot of refugees. The population had doubled at this time, and
normally it's
my
about
house
6,000,
holds,
is that right?
Yeah, normally it's about 6,000. My house personally holds, several families, including newborns, and I check on them. I help them as much as I can, and the whole town is helping them. Of course, we have a regional hospital, and that's one of the reasons why I really started this mission, because I wanted to help from my side and do my part. I cannot buy weapons. I cannot, buy bullets or things like that, but I'm a doctor, so I thought I will help from my own unique way. So I decided to raise this mission to acquire an ambulance truck and gather a package of medical supplies for a regional hospital, because region is quite dispersed, and if someone gets injured, transportation could be an issue. And the reason why I'm here is to reach out to equestrian community of Ocala, to good souls of Ocala, in hopes that maybe you can adopt Verkovina.
I think we should talk to the mayor of Ocala about adopting. This is a farmland. This is a farmland village. This is a place where people have horses and large animals a lot like us.
I really need to talk about the Hutsul people. They have very intricate culture. They work wood craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
They even have their own pony, the Carpathian pony. they are credited for that. The pony has a short stature, and they're very, very high endurance, because they pull lumber from the woods, otherwise inaccessible. And they're very, very freedom-loving and unique people in every way. And my heart goes out to them, and I really would like to help.
I think it's wonderful that, Shelley Howerton Page, who's a dear friend of mine, I consider her like family, reached out to me and said you were her friend. You were from Ukraine, a doctor here who really wanted to help, and how this is a farmland place, much like Ocala, as a less population, but a horse place and a large animal place. And I said, I have a heart for what's going on, there, and gosh, and we have this video, so if you're watching either on social media or on the television, you can see it. Obviously, if you're on the radio, you can't, but you can find us, the Horse Talk Show, and we have a video we want to share with you. So. What a gorgeous place. Oh my gosh, I'm ready to go. It's so beautiful. So how we can help, we've got a text line up here, 954-397-8351. You can text to support. Is that the best way that people can help?
There's supposed to be a QR code
Yes, we
can scan, and we'll try to incorporate the link, I guess, to the website. And if in any way that helps, we accept the donations in order to acquire and reach our goal. As well as I have many hospitals who are actually collecting donations for us, and I'm planning to go there and deliver it myself.
And I'm going to go
you can come with me.
I'm going to go with her. And thank you so much for joining us. Please stay for the last segment with Maria, and I'll have my two beautiful girls with me for the last segment of the show. So we're going to wrap this one up. Please help if you can. I'd love to see a sister with this town. I think it's really important. There are people in a very, very dire plight right now in a very beautiful and wonderful place. We'll be right back in the Horse Talk Show in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Thank you to our presenting sponsors of this half of the show, Palm Chevrolet and Larson Hay. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, Equine Therapy International, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equine Performance and Innovative Center, and Summit Joint Performance.
Hi, I'm Alan Davies with Equine Therapy International. Today we're at Engineered Equine Performance celebrating the new saltwater chilled treadmill. This particular chilled equine saltwater treadmill is a game changer. As you can see, the finest materials are used. The filtration system, coarse, fine filtration, no chemicals. We use UV, ozone, combination of filtration to keep the highest water chemistry standards. Being a saltwater unit, only the finest stainless steel and materials are used. That's important when it comes to longevity and cost of service over the life of the unit. This unit also has integrated massage jets with fine bubbles and coarse air bubbles for the therapy. The control system on this is Siemens industrial grade, top of the line technology, straight from Germany, but also serviceable here in the US.
World-class equine rehab promoting faster recovery is available at the Equine Performance Center Ocala. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, an underwater treadmill, a saltwater spa, an aquapacer, MagnaWave, a vibration plate, swimming pool, massage and laser therapies. With post-surgical care, memberships, packages and BOGOs. EPC delivers a rejuvenated horse through proven and innovative rehab. Like Equine Performance Center now on Facebook and find them on the web at epcrehab.com.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week. I'm Louisa Barton in the CEP Equine Studios, downtown Ocala in the horse capital of the world. I have a very special guest here. It's actually a doctor here in the Ocala area, originally from Ukraine. We've been talking a little bit about her hometown and how we can help, and we're going to kind of switch things over now. And we're going to talk to Maria LaCasse from Midnight Rose. I'm supporting here. Got my my shirt on. She doesn't know yet. She's not getting it back. So in my life, I've had a few massages, quite a few. I can't count how many, but a few. But I have never in my life had a massage like Maria's massage. And I'm going to tell you that because having most of you know that February 24th of last year was quite a devastating day for me. I was hit by a fleeing suspect about 65 miles an hour, totaled my truck, broke my neck, snapped some discs, and did some damage and got pinned back together, and have not been back for a massage since then, being a little nervous and concerned because of I've had some chiropractic adjustments, Dr. Bruce, very carefully. Been a little bit nervous about doing too much, but Maria took all of that away in the first 5 seconds when she said, it might feel like the pressure's really soft, but I'm warming up the muscles, so it'll increase. And I said, whoa, it's amazing. And she was so gentle and kind and so effective that I'm just so impressed with her. So Maria, it's an honor to have you here. Hello. The nice thing about her is she's an equestrian, and she doesn't just massage people, she massages horses as well. Tell us a little bit about you, background. Grew up around horses?
I didn't get a horse until I was 17 when I told my parents that they would keep me away from boys, and they're like, done. So I got a thoroughbred gelding, and it was green on green, and a very, roller coaster like experience, but I'm very stubborn. And so after that, I started working with a lot of problem horses, or a lot of horses that are sensitive and off the track. And then through that, I found that a lot of them have, traumas or physical issues, most of the time physical issues, or just communication problems with people. And so that kind of evolved into working on people, because I can't fix the horses and not also fix people that also kind of contribute into the partnership. And so it kind of grew from there, and it was just kind of a natural thing for me because I come from like generations of Samoan healers, and so I was like, oh, so these things that I do, like, they just come naturally, which is nice. And the horses are great teachers, teaching about touch and sensitivity and just noticing changes in tissue so that people are more open to changes, because horses are great because they'll let things go, but people tend to hold on to their traumas a little bit more.
We're like, yes, we are going to hang on.
Yeah.
So when let's say you go and evaluate, and I'm going to have you do a massage on a horse, and I'm going to be able to record that, but how, when you kind of look at an equestrian and equine that typically are a team and work together, how do you kind of make them work together better? Are you able to look at them in action, either video, live, and kind of see some of those? Because I noticed when you did mine, you just kind of came over and I'd been having migraines, and you put your hands on my head, and almost right away you knew where my aches and pains were before I even had a chance to tell you.
Yeah.
Do you kind of tune into that with the equine and the equestrian?
Yeah, I tune into both, and like it is handy watching them move, just because I've seen a lot of, I've taught a lot of lessons to people with confidence issues, and a lot of that comes from like their postural changes, and that, if you're defeated, then your horse is like, great. So like the more confidence I could bring the horse and the rider, the better, and the more I can help them move and kind of facilitate that. You can see like the fascial things that kind of lock them down and, stop their ability to move. And so I kind of work with those things, and a lot of it is just listening. People will tell you their problems without telling you, and so will horses, based on their posture or how they move or how they interact with you or their relationship to touch. So
it's amazing. So is this something that you wanted to do all your life? You're an equestrian yourself, you do dressage, which certainly helps you understand the horse better. Dressage is the wonderful basis for so much.
Right.
So tell us a little bit how that kind of...
So my dreams were always Grand Prix dressage, and that comes with like the whole plethora of keeping your horse sound the entire time, or, just the performance aspect of it. And so if you train horses, there's always this whole like feast or famine type thing where it's like, yeah, your horses can be doing great, and then somebody can go lame, and then you could lose the income from that. So like the massage portion came as like the smart way to like continue helping people, but also make money to kind of help those dreams come true and help inspire others. Because in my mind, like, dressage is the most like measurable sport.
Yes.
And so I'm a perfectionist, and I like to learn, and I like to gauge how things change. And so I was like, yep, dressage is for me.
So reactions from horses when you begin to work on them, especially if they haven't been worked on before, what sort of things do you see? Do you see them kind of slobbering and chewing and relaxing and dropping their head and getting kind of comfortable?
Yeah, a lot of times they'll start a little bit guarded just because they don't know what you're doing. But I always love the massage, you get the good aspect instead of you're the trainer and you have to fix the problems, and the horse is like, oh God, she's coming back. But now it's like,
oh, she's coming back.
And so
this is a good thing.
Right, and it's interesting to see how they like to release. Some horses will release, trauma and sadness and
slobber
grief.
And drool
yes, they'll slobber and drool.
Slobber and drool like me, yeah.
Yeah. Or just like very subtle blinks, like if you just notice where the tissue is like locked up or where they actually get a reaction, then you can find those release points that help them release the things and, move to their fullest potential.
Amazing. So they can come to you at your farm, or you're mobile?
Yep.
Wonderful. And then like hits, you can come out with a chair massage.
I've done chair massage for events and stuff like that. If you have barn parties that, all the girls just want to relax, I'm happy to come out and see y'all, or come and evaluate your horses, see where, people can communicate
consultation.
better. Yeah.
And then website, social media to find you?
Yeah. I have a website. It's www.midnightrosellc.com. I'm also on Facebook, TikTok, all that jazz. I like to have fun.
Midnight Rose
Yeah, that's
LLC.
me.
Just like that.
Right.
And so people can reach out, they can make an appointment, you'll come and do a consultation.
Yeah.
Take a look at them, the horse.
Right.
Put them together, kind of figure out what the problem is
Yeah.
and be able to work on both.
Yeah, and it's all about comfort. If you're more comfortable at your farm, or if you need body work and you're more comfortable, it's all about, like, the more safe you can create the environment, the more the body will actually open up and, like, let you heal things.
That's true. And for me, it's more relaxing to get away from everything. So I'd rather come to you. But for some people who maybe don't have this, Gigi, you know what I'm missing is the bags. I'm missing the bags. I got to do the bags. Maria, I got to tell you that when you first reached out to me and said, I heard about your accident. I really want to, take care of you. I thought, oh my gosh, that's absolutely amazing. People don't do that for me all the time. So I don't know if I have these the right way around, but I've got goodie bags for you. I've got lip chip caps, and I've got lip chip shirts, and I've got some horse products in here. I've got some Piranha spray, Zero Bite in your Piranha bags. So goodie bags for you guys.
Thank you.
And for being in here and being guests. We love having you in here. Maria, last few things that you might want our listening audience to know about you and why it matters to you that you do beyond exceptional work.
I just really value the use of, like, trauma release through, like, manual manipulation of tissues and stuff like that. I've gone through a lot of trauma in my life, like physically, emotionally, all that jazz. And so, I believe that, everybody goes through things, and it does help you to become, a stronger person. And I want to help people release things so that they can, live their best life and go after their dreams without physical limitations.
Absolutely. Physical, definitely, and mental and emotional barriers broken down for me. Wonderful, amazing experience. I can't wait for my next massage. I want to thank you both. We've got to wrap up the show. It's been great. Had wonderful, exciting guests in this week, and we'll have more next week. So make sure you tune in, whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world, or not. Happy horsing around. Till the same time next week.